Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. This is the one. This is of course, my season preview for the upcoming Formula One 2024 season. Testing's done now. All testing's done. It's now on to the proper thing, the proper season, which starts next weekend. It starts next weekend by the time this video will be uploaded. It will be obviously next weekend. I'm obviously doing this on a Saturday, where it'll be 1 week to go till next Saturday, which is the start of the season. And now the first race of the season will be next Saturday, due to Ramadan, of course. So, bit of an early start. It's going to be very weird to see it's not a Sunday race, but yes, let's get into it then. For season preview and predictions. So the 2024 calendar then looks like this. Bahrain, we start off in Bahrain, then in Saudi Arabia. You see the calendar there. Australia, we don't have Japan in round 4. The return of China, hopefully, because China is definitely one of my favourite tracks. So hopefully it's a return of China after it hasn't returned to F1 since 2019. Obviously due to COVID and all the you want to be conspiracies out there. Miami in round 6. We should go to Imola in round 7. Obviously, Imola was cancelled last year due to the floods in Imola. We go to Monaco, Canada, Spain, Austria, United Kingdom versus Silverstone, Hungary, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, that used to be early in the season, is now going to be midway through in round 17. Singapore, round 18. USA, Austin, Texas in round 19. Mexico, Brazil. Then Las Vegas. Then Qatar will be the penultimate race until the finale in Abu Dhabi. So the 2024 F1 sprint events then will be, there'll be a sprint race in China, there'll be a sprint event in China, sprint event in Miami, sprint event in Austria, a sprint event in Austin as well, in Brazil and in Qatar. But yeah, I will say a quick opinion on the 2024 calendar is so the season's going to be finishing in December. It finished in November, obviously, last season. So we're going to be having 24 races between March and December of 2024. And I think I've said it a lot of times in the tests and watch-alongs that I really don't like the 24 races, to be honest with you. F1 was done when it used to be 15 to 18 races, and now it's just getting a bit out of hand now with the 24 races, in my opinion. And it's not going to be done for the cars either. It's not going to be done for the cars. It's not going to be done for the teams either. Team members, every team member's got family members they want to spend time with. And they're probably only going to spend, obviously, Christmas and January, and then until they return for pre-season testing again in February. So they only don't spend at least 2 months with the family, to be honest. And it's not just that. There's a high risk of being car damage to any car, especially with these amount of races as well. And that means spending your budget. And we're going to probably see more teams get fined as well. And it's just some car damages, isn't it? And budget will be spent as well from every team to try and have a sustainable car for at least to last the whole season. And it's just not right for me. It just isn't right, but it's F1, it's run by Americans here, and Americans want to do it their way. So that's why with the introduction of sprints as well, that's just an American thing for your sprint events. For this year, sprint qualifying will move from Saturday to Friday, following an initial 3 practice sessions for track termination and setup work. The 110 metre sprint will then take place on Saturday, ahead of qualifying for the Grand Prix. Yes, that day, so actual qualifying. So the sprint race will take place on Saturday, sprint qualifying on Friday, and the sprint race will take place before actual qualifying. So that's what it's trying to say there. The 2024 FIA Formula 1 World Championship is a planned motor race championship for Formula 1 cars, set to be the 75th running of the Formula 1 World Championship. It is recognised by the Federation Internationale de Automobile, the FIA, the governing body of international motorsport, as the highest class of competition for open-wheel racing cars. The championship is scheduled to be contested over a record 24 Grand Prix held around the world, beginning in March and ending in December. Drivers and teams will compete for the titles of the World Drivers' Champion and World Constructors' Champion. Respectively, Max Verstappen is the reigning Drivers' Champion, while his team, Red Bull Racing, are the reigning Constructors' Champions. The team changes then. Alfa Romeo ended their partnership with Sauber and left Formula 1 in 2023, as Sauber prepares to become the Audi worst team in 2026. The team was rebranded as Stack F1 Team Tit Sauber, with the constructor name Tit Sauber. AlphaTauri rebranded as RB, as in Racing Bulls, Visa Katsap, and we replaced the allowance of the operation of the team to Milton Keynes in the United Kingdom amidst a management restructure. Driver changes. The only change from the drivers contracted at the beginning of 2023 occurred at the former AlphaTauri team, who replaced Nick de Vries with Daniel Ricciardo from the 2023 Hungarian Grand Prix onwards. All driver and teams combinations that completed the final round of the previous seasons are set to be unchanged for the start of this season, for the first time in Formula 1 World Championship history. Interesting. Calendar expansion changes. Then the Chinese Grand Prix scheduled to return to the calendar for the first time since 2019, after being cancelled for 4 years in a row due to difficulties presented by COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The Emirates Grand Prix, which was cancelled in 2023 due to flooding in the area, scheduled to return to the calendar. The Russian Grand Prix was under contract to feature on the 2024 calendar, but however, the contract was terminated in 2022 in response to Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. So then, the radiation. So we have looked at the radiations then. Technical radiations in response to the extreme weather conditions resulting in cockpit overheating during the 2023 Qatar Grand Prix. Teams will now be allowed to install a stoop to the car that is intended to cool down the driver and cockpit area. Wheel covers aiming to reduce spray in wet weather conditions will be further tested during the season. Teams will not be allowed to start wind tunnel or turbulent fluid dynamics for the work for the 2026 season, which will see major technical radiation rule changes until 1st January 2025. However, teams may still do other binary research and development work not covered by these restrictions. So the tyres, the alternative tyre allocation trialled at the 2023 Hungarian and Italian Grand Prix, where drivers were given 11 sets of tyres in attempts to cut costs in the sport, will be discontinued. Therefore, teams will refer to having 13 sets of tyres available per driver during every race weekend. The CO the CO tire compound, the highest compound in Perez tri-tire range, was introduced but not used during the 2023 season, was dropped from the tire lineup. This compound was previously known as the C1, but was renamed at the start of the 2023 season from the introduction of a new C1 compound that disrupted between the old C1 and the current C2 compounds in terms of hardness. A proposed trial for a ban on tyre planters for this season and a full ban in 2025 was abandoned. Sporting Mediations. The decision appeal process was amended for 2024 season. The deadline to submit a right of review request was reduced from 14 to 4 days after an event in an attempt to stop potentially frivolous appeal attempts. The FIA will also introduce a fee for the process. The structure of the sprint weekends was changed for 2024 with the door of recognizing sprint events and separating them from the Grand Prix weekend. The weekend begins with a single practice session followed by the sprint shootout with session starting grid for the sprint race. The sprint will then be the first session to take place on Saturday, followed by actual qualifying for the main race. The Grand Prix itself remains on a Sunday. The rules for DRS uses in Grand Prix were adjusted slightly. Drivers will now be allowed to use DRS 1 lap after race start, safety car restart, or red flag restart 1 lap earlier than in previous seasons. This was tested during the sprints in 2023. After being increased for the 2023 championship, the power unit allocations per season was then expanded from 3 to 4 per driver for the 2024 and 2025 championships. So, now we've gone through all the information. Should we get on now? Should we get on with the season predictions then? Let's go with the season predictions. So starting off with Hearts. Obviously, they are the worst team on the grid, Hearts, this season. And they have been the worst team on the grid for the past couple of seasons now. I think they're on the print for me. Hearts have probably been removed from F1, if I'm being honest with you. And I think it's pretty obvious where we're going to put Hearts this season. I think Hearts will be the worst team on the grid. And I think they'll be the worst team on the grid. I think they'll finish 10th in the Constructors' Championship. Hulkenberg and Magnussen. Hulkenberg, it's not going to be his fault, but he ain't going to have the tar for me, Nico Hulkenberg. So, unfortunately for Hulkenberg, he is going to be in between 16th and 20th in terms of the Drivers' Championship for me, Nico Hulkenberg. Same with Kevin Magnussen as well. They just don't have the tar, do they? Haas have never had the tar for years. And with the talk of Andretti being rumoured to come into F1, and I mean, Andretti are definitely on Haas's bad side, in my opinion. I'll probably be replacing Haas, to be honest. And Andretti are an American team as well. And Haas are an American team. But I think Haas will be safe because it is run by Americans, F1, so they'll want to keep Haas in there. And but just like previous seasons, I just don't see any changes for Haas. This still don't be the worst team on the grid for me. And this is what I've done for in terms of Haas. I think Nico Hulkenberg will finish 18th in the Drivers' Championship. And I think Kevin Magnussen will finish bottom in the Drivers' Championship. And obviously, I think they'll finish 10th in terms of the Constructors, in my opinion. They've been the worst team on the grid for years, and I shouldn't continue that way, in my opinion, for Haas. In my opinion. And also, it is post-CI after Gunther Steiner, who obviously left Haas at the end of the 2023 season. And they've now got a new team principal in. So, Japan is probably going to be one of the home races because the team principal is from Japan. Tomatsu is from Japan, so we'll see how they do with the new team principal. But yeah, I think they'll be the worst team on the grid. No fault to Nico Hulkenberg or Kevin Magnussen. They just have not got the tar, have they? And now we move on to Kick F1 Sauber, or Stat F1 Sauber, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Again, I think it's going to be the same as last season for me, for Sauber. It's interesting with Sauber, though. I do think they could be... Sauber, for me, they're a bit of a weird team last season. They actually did pretty well in terms of qualifying. They did a decent job in qualifying last year. It just seems to be the worst, doesn't it, for Sauber? And that's the bread and butter, really, all about having a race car. No one cares about who qualified. No one cares about qualifying. Let's be real. Yes, it sets the actual grid, but the bread and butter is actually winning the race, isn't it? So, same as last season for me for Alfa Romeo. I don't think they'll be battling with Haas to be bottom. I think Alfa Romeo will be far better than last season, and they'll be far better than Haas, but still not enough to be above the likes of Williams and AlphaTauri, in my opinion. And I think Sauber will finish 9th. Again, it's a bit like Haas for me with Alfa Romeo. I just don't think they have the worst car for me. I think Zhou Guanyu will finish 19th in the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, hopefully, it'll be a home run free for him in China. Hopefully. And Valtteri Bottas, I think he'll finish 17th. Again, it's a bit like Hulkenberg at Haas with Bottas. No fault of his own, in my opinion, but they just don't have the tar for me. They just don't have the tar to be above 9th place in the constructors, in my personal opinion. So I'll put Bottas in 17th and Zhou Guanyu in 19th. I mean, I know that's a bit low for the tar of Valtteri Bottas, but it's all about the tar, isn't it? Unfortunately, all about the tar. So Alfa Romeo and Haas are probably going to be knocked out in Q1 quite a lot, to be fair, for probably the majority of the season. Alfa Romeo might spin a few surprises in terms of qualifying, because they do have to do that, Sauber. But yeah, they'll be down there, in my opinion, in terms of qualifying one. And in terms of the end of the race as well, they'll be near the bottom of the pack, along with Haas, in my opinion. So up next then, I've done for Williams to finish in 8th in this Constructors' Championship. I think they finished 7th, didn't they, last season, Williams. And I still think it's going to be a progress season for Williams. I think facing Haas RB, they're going to be so much better than last season, in my opinion. And I really do think, I think James Vowles, I predicted it at the start of last season, where I predicted James Vowles to be a real coupe for Williams, and that was a coupe of a team principal for Williams. I think he is the real deal, in my opinion, James Vowles, and I think he'll progress Williams even further this season. As team principal, Alex Albon, I think he's going to be one of the most spoken about names, especially for 2025 as well. There's going to be a lot of teams linked with Alex Albon. If he continues to overachieve in that Williams, which he did last season, which I think he will again this season, I think it's basically a George Russell at Williams, where he will get the best out that Williams car. He will overachieve expectations in that Williams car as well. And I think another driver, obviously, I think his teammate, Jordan Sargent, I think he's going to be one of the drivers to watch for me. I think that season, he was so unlucky. He was so unlucky, in my opinion, in the few Grand Prix, Jordan Sargent, where he suffered a few DNFs, didn't he? And obviously, American driver as well. I think there's something about him. I do think there's something about Jordan Sargent. Even though he finished near the bottom, even though he finished around the bottom last season, I think he'll be a far better season this season for Jordan Sargent, and definitely one of my drivers to watch this season. He'd obviously be battling to keep hold of the seat at Williams as well, because there was rumours about him potentially getting repaired at the end of 2023 season by one of Mick Schumacher or Ian Lawson. But Jordan Sargent does keep hold of his seat, which is, I still think he should keep hold of his seat for me. Give him another chance at Williams. And as much as I think Williams will probably finish beyond the Racing Bulls, the three Tata Racing Bulls, I do think Williams will be battling with them to battle for 7th in terms of the constructors. So this is what I've done for. I've done for Williams to finish 8th in constructors. I've done for Alex Albon to finish 11th in the Trial Championship, because I do think he will pick up points in probably the majority of the races, because he is a talented driver, Alex Albon, and he's a quick driver as well, especially for these regulations as well. And I think Jordan Sargent, I think he could well finally get in the points as well. I think he could well get in the points in the minority of the races, not as much as the majority as Albon will, but in the minority of the races, I do think Jordan Sargent will pick up points as well. Especially, he got the sprint races as well. So I think Jordan Sargent will have a far better season than last season, and I think he'll surprise. I do think he might surprise through people, and I think he'll finish 16th in the Trial Championship, which is good for Jordan Sargent, in my opinion, especially when you have a look at the other drivers we got on the grid. So I think Williams will keep on progressing on the James Vowles. James Vowles, who was brought in by Mercedes, from Mercedes, and he's the real deal as a team principal. We do think that. Obviously, I don't think he will get a chance from the top, but he'll progress Williams as a team. And Williams in the last couple of years have been won properly this time. They've been won properly. So I expect Williams to keep on progressing. Up next, I've done for Visa Tata RB, who were previously known as AlphaTauri, to finish in 7th. I think it'll be a far better season, much better season than last season for me, for them. They've been testing the car as well. Daniel Ricciardo will now have a full season with them as well, after coming in halfway through the season. But he came in when they just had a bad car, didn't they? They'll have a much better car this season. And Yuki Tsunoda, probably lucky, pardon the pun, to keep his seat. Ian Lawson would have been knocking on the door on that seat. The thing with Yuki Tsunoda is, I think he can be a car crash, but there's something in him, isn't there? There is something in Yuki Tsunoda, especially in qualifying as well. It seems to be in qualifying as well with Yuki Tsunoda. Daniel Ricciardo, I think he's done be solid in qualifying as well. I think both of them will be solid in qualifying. And then they'll store points, in my opinion, for his Tata RB. They'll store points as well, in my opinion. Obviously, Japan's done be a home-to-home for them because their engine is Honda. And obviously, another home-to-home would probably be Austria. Obviously, Red Bull are obviously in charge of Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri for his Tata RB. So, and I think it'll be a far better season for them. I think it definitely will be a far better season, which is why I've done for Yuki Tsunoda to finish in 15th in the Trial Championship, and I've done for Daniel Ricciardo to finish in the top 10 of the Trial standings. We all know Daniel Ricciardo is one of the best. He's one of the best drivers at diving in. He's one of the best drivers at braking, at doing overtakes, braking overtakes. Daniel Ricciardo. He brakes on the inside. He's one of the best drivers at them overtakes, and one of the best drivers at overtaking as well. Daniel Ricciardo. So I think it's going to be a very good season for Daniel Ricciardo, especially he could be someone who could be knocking on the door then at Red Bull. If he has a good season, in the top 10, Daniel Ricciardo only stores points as well. We all know Daniel Ricciardo loves it in Mexico as well. He loves it in the Mexico 1-3. and Belgium, he's had passing the Belgium Grand Prix as well, down Ricardo. So I do think he could be knocking on the door at Red Bull, because I do think Sergio Perez will leave. So it's going to be interesting, but I think they'll finish 7th for his task. I think it'd be between them and Williams for that 7th spot, in my opinion. Up next then, and in 6th place, I've done for Alpine. They struggled, didn't they, last season? They did struggle last season. Inconsistent last season, which is quite unusual for Alpine, who are normally a consistent team, to say. Who are normally a consistent team. I think they'll be far better than last season. They'll be much more consistent than last season, Alpine. But I don't really see them being above 6th place, in my opinion, in terms of constructors. Esteban Ocon, he's certainly done be a driver who's done be again, probably knocking on that Mercedes door to replace Lewis Hamilton, who is done to Ferrari. So Esteban Ocon's going to have a point to prove this season, so he's probably one of the drivers to look out for. Looking to put Esteban Ocon will looking to put audition on for Mercedes to see what Mercedes will get from him. And this will be a close teammate battle, because there'll be some races where it will suit Perdazzi, and there'll be some races where it will suit Esteban Ocon. I think Perdazzi is probably the better driver in terms of qualifying, while Esteban Ocon seems to be better in the race, doesn't he? So they seem to mix it up, don't they, between the two of them. Perdazzi, I don't know if he'll be knocking on the Red Bull door, to be honest. I think he's definitely going to stay at Alpine, but probably for the next couple of seasons at Yates. But Esteban Ocon is obviously a strong shout to probably replace Lewis Hamilton, with obviously the bond he's had in the past with Toto Wolff. But as for Alpine, I've done for sixth in the constructors, and I've done for Esteban Ocon to finish 12th in the Drivers' Championship, and Perdazzi to finish 13th in the Drivers' Championship. So nothing between them, really. Nothing between them. I think they'll flip-flop between them in terms of scoring points, but I think Ocon will probably get more of the points than Perdazzi, in my opinion. And I think Ocon will need to prove himself that he is good enough to be a number 2 at Mercedes, George Russell. And I do think Ocon will move to Mercedes at the end of the season. But then Toto Wolff said he could be making a bold choice, which probably leads to Antonelli in F2. But we'll wait and see. But Ocon's definitely up there to probably replace Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. Up next then, I've done for Aston Martin to finish in 5th in the Constructors' Championship. Bit weird, isn't it, for Aston Martin? Because start of last season, for a couple of races, they were Red Bull's closest chances. We just don't know what to expect from Aston Martin, to be honest with you. And Fernando Alonso, I just don't think he's going to be happy, in my opinion. Because Fernando Alonso, he probably would have been promised a good racing car. A good car to probably compete at the top. Because that's Fernando's ego for you. He wants to compete at the top, Fernando Alonso. Of course he does. He's a back-to-back world champion. And I just don't see it with Aston Martin. I think he'll be the same, mostly the same as last season for Aston Martin, in terms of after midway of last season, second half of last season, where it just fell off after being closest chance to Red Bull for the first couple of races. We don't know the situation with Lawrence Stroll. I think he is preparing to sell his shares at Aston Martin. At Aston Martin and Lance Stroll. I just don't think Lance Stroll's good enough for Aston Martin's long-term ambitions, which will be to probably be up at the top. In my opinion, I just don't think Lance Stroll is a good enough driver for that. But I do think Lance Stroll is still good enough to try. I do think he's still good enough to try for an F1, in my opinion, Lance Stroll. And be interesting to see at the end of the season what happens to the Stroll family at Aston Martin. I think Fernando Alonso, I think this could be his last season in F1, in my opinion. I know there's talk of him being into Mercedes. I think that'll be a foolish move by Mercedes. I really do think that. Yeah, it wants to be another bloody fantasy lineup. Be another fantasy lineup, and you don't want George Russell and Fernando Alonso, who both want to be number one at Mercedes, who both fighting to be number one at Mercedes. You just don't want that. I know 2007 we had Alonso and Hamilton, but it's changed. It's changed then, and I think Fernando Alonso, this will be his last season in F1 for me. And yes, Aston Martin decides to get rid of Lance Stroll and probably get another driver in who's happy to be number 2 to Fernando Alonso and try and make it a stronger lineup. We'll wait and see. But I've done for Aston Martin to finish in 5th. And I think it'll be a drop off from Fernando Alonso in terms of driver standings from last season. He overachieved last season, Fernando Alonso, in my opinion. And I think he'll drop back out the top 8. And I think he'll finish 9th in the Drivers' Championship. But Fernando will be Fernando in the race. Fernando will start on 6 points as always. As for Lance Stroll, I think he'll finish 14th in Aston Martin, because I think he'll battle it out with Yuki Tsunoda. I think he will battle it out with Yuki Tsunoda for 14th in the Drivers' Championship. But I think obviously Lance Stroll will obviously have the better car, and I think Lance Stroll will finish 14th. Now we move on. 4 cars remain and 4 teams remain. And who have I done for in 4th place? In 4th place, there's been a lot of hype about them. Probably been Red Bull's closest chances. I've done for McLaren in 4th place. I just don't know with McLaren, because the start of the last 2 seasons with these regulations, the new regulations from 2022, they've started off outside the top 10, McLaren. I'm not saying they don't start outside the top 10 this season. They'll be obviously far much better now they're not used to the regulations. Now that have been more suited to the regulations. I think McLaren, Norris and Piastri, again, both drivers will want to be number 1. Piastri's definitely a huge talent, and we all know Lando Norris is a sensational talent. We all know Lando Norris is probably going to be a potential world champion, a future world champion, Lando Norris. And they did well last season, to be fair, didn't they? His teammates last season, both of them. But there will be a point where they were both their egos will probably set. I wouldn't say they're not egos, but both of them will have that egos of wanting to be number 1 driver at McLaren. And that's the problem when you have 2 huge talents as teammates, for me, in my opinion. Having Lando Norris, I reckon he could be a strong shout for Mercedes, because I don't think George Russell is safe at Mercedes. It's alright saying Lewis Hamilton's here at Mercedes. Obviously, I think Mercedes have got a long term with George Russell. But I would not be shocked if Lando Norris comes into their thinking to possibly replace George Russell, in my opinion, at Mercedes. Because I think a lot of teams, there'll be the top teams be after Lando Norris. Don't even want McLaren at the top team. Zak Brown, he's done really well, hasn't he, at McLaren? He has progressed McLaren over the years as well. So, do I think Lando Norris will win the race? I think he's due, isn't he? I do think he is due to win a race, isn't he, at some point? Lando Norris. Not people done for McLaren as closest chances to Red Bull, but I don't think so, personally. I don't think so. I personally think it's a battle for second between 3 teams, which probably gives away who I've done for to obviously win the World Championships. But I do think it is between 3 teams in the battle for second for me. And I'm just going to say straight up, it's between McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes, all battling for second, in my opinion, in terms of constructors for me. And in terms of the drivers for McLaren, I've done for Lando Norris to finish in 5th in the driver standings, and also Piastri in 8th, which I don't think is bad for McLaren. I do think there has been a lot of hype about McLaren potentially chancing Red Bull. Let's wait and see. I mean, I'll love to see it. But Zak Brown has overachieved. Zak Brown has progressed this McLaren team over the years, so I wouldn't put it past him. But I'm just stunned on the fact that the start of the last 2 seasons, they have started slowly, McLaren, and they've found themselves outside the top 10. Obviously, I don't think they'll be outside the top 10 on the grid. They'll definitely be in the top 10. But I just think they might have a slow start to the season, in my opinion. And will they win the race? I think so. I think they might. I think they will win the race this season. Because I don't think Red Bull will be as dominant as last season. I mean, last season was just ridiculous standards from Red Bull. But I do think Red Bull will still be dominant and win majority of the races. But I do think the race wins will be split, in my opinion. I think majority of the race wins will go to Red Bull. I think Ferrari will definitely win some races, in my opinion. I think Mercedes might win a race as well. And I think McLaren will win a race, in my opinion, as well. So that's my driver championship predictions for Norris and Piastri. I think Norris will finish 5th, Piastri will finish 8th, and I think McLaren will finish 4th in the constructors. On to 3rd then. I've done for Ferrari. Done for Ferrari in 3rd. You just can't be convinced by Ferrari, can you? And a lot of people will hype Ferrari up again, start the season saying they'll be the closest chance to Red Bull. They should be the closest chances to Red Bull because they prepared for these radiations. They were the best team prepared for these radiations. But I'm just not convinced. I've never been convinced by Ferrari for years, to be honest with you. Never been convinced by them for years. Carlos Sainz, I don't think Carlos Sainz was best being number 2 to Charles Leclerc. If Lewis Hamilton would have replaced Charles Leclerc, I think that Hamilton and Sainz partnership would work, in my opinion. I just don't think Sainz really respects being number 2 to Charles Leclerc, in my opinion. And I agree with Carlos Sainz because I think they're at the same level for me, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Ferrari, they've had reliability issues, haven't they, with the car, obviously in the past as well, which has probably cost them. This has cost them in terms of especially in terms of the 2022 season as well. But Ferrari, they need better. For them to challenge Red Bull this season, they need better team strategists, in my opinion, at Ferrari. Because the strategies have let them down as well. I don't think it's a bad partnership, Leclerc and Sainz. I don't think it's a bad partnership. But a lot of things play a part on why it's just not working as a partnership where Sainz doesn't respect being number 2. Binotto, the last couple of seasons, really yet both of them fight each other on the track. When teammates shouldn't really be fighting each other on the track because you don't toss your team points. And that's why I don't see the Leclerc and Hamilton partnership working, in my opinion, because Leclerc, he's another ego. He's another ego and wanting to be number 1. Hamilton's another ego, being a 7-time world champion. And I just don't see that Leclerc and Hamilton partnership working. I really don't. Unless they wait until 2026, in my opinion. But under these radiations, no chance. No chance, in my opinion. And I just don't think it's good for the team to have 2 drivers who want to be number 1, in my opinion, because it's all fantasy. Let's be real. It's all fantasy and nostalgia, in my opinion. So, as for Ferrari are just Ferrari for me. They'll probably start the season well. they'll probably start the season well for Ferrari, but then there'll be some races where they'll suffer DNFs or the statistical day at one again for Ferrari, and that's what will toss them second place in the constructors, as I do for Ferrari to finish third in constructors championship. I don't do for Charles Leclerc to finish fourth in the drivers' championship because he will. There's races for Charles Leclerc where he does suit him, Azerbaijan, Monaco, street circus as well. He does well in the street circus, Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz. I don't get the betting for Carlos Sainz. The betting also put Carlos Sainz to finish ninth. Well, around ninth favourite to win the championship, of course. I think the betting also put Carlos Sainz to finish quite low, behind the likes of Piastri and Alonso, which I don't agree with at all. He's a smooth operator on the track, Carlos Sainz. Smooth operator on the track. But unfortunately for him, Charles Leclerc will obviously get priority at Ferrari, and I think Charles Leclerc will obviously get more of the results than Carlos Sainz in Carlos Sainz's final season. Carlos Sainz, he will certainly have options though at the end of the season, as he gets replaced by Hamilton at the end of the season. I think he's perfect for Red Bull. I really do think that. I think he's a perfect replacement for Perez. Carlos Sainz is a better option than Daniel Ricciardo, than Alex Albon and Alonso, in my opinion, that Red Bull been linked with for me. Because Carlos Sainz, he will respect being number 2 to Max Verstappen. He has that bond with Christian Horner and Red Bull as well. Carlos Sainz, after trying for Toro Rosso in the past as well. And I think Carlos Sainz is the perfect replacement for Max Verstappen, in my opinion. And I think Sainz, I think Red Bull should go after Carlos Sainz. Will they? I don't think they will, but I don't know, it's a 50-50 one. But Red Bull should definitely go after Carlos Sainz to replace Sergio Perez. Even if Perez does well, Perez will leave Red Bull just to have. It's all about having that freshness, isn't it? You can't really have the same team for too long, the same partnership for too long, in my opinion. So, 4th for Charles Leclerc, 6th for Carlos Sainz, and I've done for 3rd in the constructors for Ferrari, which means in 2nd place I've done for Mercedes in 2nd place, and this is what I've done for. I've done for Lewis Hamilton to finish in 3rd in the constructors. I think he'll be battling with Sergio Perez for that 2nd spot in the Drivers' Championship. I think George Russell will finish 7th. I personally think George Russell is just waiting for Lewis Hamilton to leave, isn't he? I think he's just waiting for Hamilton to leave. I think Hamilton's always had the priority for me. As long as he's at Mercedes. It's Lewis Hamilton's final season at Mercedes. George Russell will definitely be better than that season. He'll definitely score more points. But I still think that puts him in 7th, in my opinion. I still think it puts Russell in 7th for me. I still think George Russell can be a world champion at Mercedes. I think it's more of a long-term thing for him at Mercedes for me. And he's going to need patience and time. But like I said earlier, he could be under pressure, George Russell, especially if Lando Norris does well this season. Because Toto Wolff, he will like the look of Lando Norris, in my opinion. And Lando Norris could be coming after George Russell. So there's no way I can see Russell and I can't see Russell and Norris in the same team with Mercedes, because we've seen it with Jason Button and Lewis Hamilton, haven't we, where they didn't chance for the championship, did they? Let's be real. They didn't chance for the championship when they were teammates. So it just shows that it doesn't work. Having two quality drivers as number 1, in my opinion. So I think George Russell, I certainly think he could be under pressure, definitely, if he don't step up, and especially if Lando Norris does well, and the Mercedes as well. But I think Mercedes have got a long-term project with George Russell. And I think it's all about patience for George Russell for me. And it's probably going to be another write-off season for him. But it's quite strange because he did well, didn't he, in 2022? He finished above Lewis Hamilton in 2022. Then Mercedes, I think, decided to give Lewis Hamilton more of the priority. It's going to be the same again. I think Hamilton will get more of the priority in terms of having the quicker car. And rightly so, yes, be real. Hamilton is a 7-time world champion. And can Mercedes challenge? They've got the team principal, haven't they? They've got the team principal. He's a winner. It's all about the car for me. It's all about if Mercedes have had the car to challenge Red Bull, in my opinion, because we all know Lewis Hamilton, if he has the car, he can definitely challenge Max Verstappen. And he's the only one who can probably stop Max Verstappen if they have the car. So I don't think they. I don't think Mercedes will challenge, but I do think they'll be the second best team on the grid. Because I think their car is more reliable than Ferrari, in my opinion. And they do seem to have a better race car than the qualifying car. So I think they'll struggle in qualifying, Mercedes. But in terms of the race, they do certainly know how to have a race car, Mercedes. So, and that's where that's why I put Mercedes for the second, because I do think they have a better race car in terms of reliability than Ferrari and McLaren, in my opinion. So I'm going to go for Mercedes to finish second. I know it's boring at the moment. These predictions are so predictable, and but I don't know that. But Donny, I think it is between Mercedes and Ferrari then, probably for second. I mean, McLaren are definitely up there in the race for second as well. But I think McLaren will slightly drop off and finish in fourth near towards the end. And I think it'll be a battle between Mercedes and Ferrari for the third year in the war, in the battle for second. So, but I'm done for Mercedes to finish second. In my opinion, in the drivers and constructors, which means, of course, the Red Bull. I have done for Red Bull. I have done for Red Bull to win yesterday. They are an unstoppable force, Red Bull. Of course, I've done for Max Verstappen to finish in first, Perez to finish in second, and then so same as last season for me for Red Bull, and obviously first in the constructors. The car design part supporting for this season is game over for everyone else. It is game over with the car design part supporting for the season. They're going to be even more aggressive as well, and they're going to be even more unstoppable, in my opinion. To stop Max Verstappen is, for me, he is Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher combined. Unbelievable driver, unbelievable talent, unbelievable driver, unbelievable talent, Max Verstappen, and he is Senna and Schumacher combined. He's got the mentality of Ayrton Senna. No, he's got the driving ability of Ayrton Senna, and I'll keep on saying it, and he's got the mentality of Michael Schumacher. He does all he can to win. Obviously, in 2021, obviously, he can be a dirty driver. Max Verstappen, he can be a dirty driver, but so what? You have to be dirty. You have to be dirty to win an F1. It shows you're a winner. It shows you're a winner. Simple as that. So I don't agree with the snobbery on Max Verstappen. When it's Lewis Hamilton who's down there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he's a traitor," said and all them comments, but Max Verstappen, for me, he became the first driver, really, to stop Hamilton, along with Nico Rosberg. Only drivers to probably stop Hamilton when Hamilton was at his prime best in that Mercedes. And it's like Max Verstappen's now took the reins from Lewis Hamilton, having his dominant spell at Red Bull. And yeah, no one's stopping Red Bull people. No one's stopping them this season. I said it at the end of last season, Red Bull will dominate in 2024 and they'll dominate in 2025 as well. Because a lot of teams are going to be now preparing for 2026 radiations as well. Red Bull, this will probably be the last partnership, the last year of the partnership between Verstappen and Perez, because I do think Perez will leave regardless at the end of the season. And I think he'll drop back down to probably Aston Martin again. Or like who are previously known as Racing Point. He has that bond, doesn't he, still, with Aston Martin, in my opinion, who are previously known as Racing Point. So that's where I see Perez going. Perez, he's just unlucky, isn't he? I think he's just unlucky that Max Verstappen's his teammate. Otherwise, Perez, it's simple, isn't it? Without Verstappen, Perez would be a world champion. Simple as that, really. And Perez, he's going to have joy in street circus, isn't he? Perez as well. He's going to have joy in the street circuits, where Max Verstappen might not have joy in terms of street circuits, but Max Verstappen is obviously going to win 10 plus races then, isn't he? Max Verstappen. Well, it'd be 15 plus races, in my opinion. That's how many races I think Max Verstappen will win. I think Perez will probably win a couple. Ferrari might win a couple, and obviously I think Mercedes might win one, and McLaren might win one. But in terms of your safest bet on who's going to win races this season, it's definitely going to be Red Bull and Ferrari, in my opinion, because they have the quickest cards. But Red Bull obviously much better reliability-wise than Ferrari. Everything's just perfect for Red Bull. The team, the engineers, the strategists as well. Everything's perfect. Everything is perfect at Red Bull. And it's going to be yet another perfect season, in my opinion, for Red Bull. Also, I don't think they can better that season, almost creating history and winning every race in the season. I don't think they'll be as good as that season, but they're still going to be dominant, let's be real. And they're still going to win 15 plus races, Red Bull. And it's not going to be a close championship, people, I'm sorry to say. It's not going to be close. It's not going to be a close championship. So, and yeah, simple as that, really. Simple as that for me. And having Red Bull will be even stronger if they get Carlos Sainz in, who is the perfect replacement for Sergio Perez. Be interesting to see what happens with the Christian Horner situation by the time this recording. If Christian Horner gets removed, then you'd be thinking, okay. Because that could be, because what happens if Christian Horner leaves? Could the deck of cards fall at Red Bull? I think that's the only thing that's going to stop Red Bull, in my opinion. Because Adrian Newey, he's the truth. He's the key at Red Bull. The way he designs the cards, the way he designs the cars as well, it's unbelievable, man. It is unbelievable. The part he plays at Red Bull, he's the key, Adrian Newey. And if he follows Christian Horner, potentially our Red Bull, then it's game on. It's game on, people. Then it could be game on. Because Helmut Marko is obviously in charge of the team. What happens if he leaves as well? If all them three leave, it's game on, baby. It's game on. Because they are the key parts of Red Bull. They are the key parts of Red Bull. Without them three, Red Bull don't win championships. Simple as that. And Max Verstappen doesn't win championships either. Because obviously Max Verstappen still needed the car, let's be real. But Max Verstappen, he's still he's unbelievable, isn't he? An unbelievable world champion, Max Verstappen. So it'd be interesting to see with the Red Bull and Christian Horner situation. Be interesting to see if everyone follows if Christian Horner does, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if everyone follows him out. If they do, it's game on, baby. It's game on. Because they are the three key parts to Red Bull, in my opinion. So, but anyways, that is my F1 season preview and season predictions for the 2024 season. Feel free to leave your thoughts on the season down below in the comments. Can anyone stop Red Bull? Let me know down below in the comments. Take care, stay safe, see you later, and let the season begin. Can anyone stop the unstoppable force that is Red Bull Racing?